Welcome to this training session on managing inductions. So the induction system in Fast Track is used to train and assess the effectiveness of their training. New staff or visitors, volunteers, contractors, as well as staff. Now, the starting point before we can actually publish and train new staff, we have to set up the induction system in Fast Track. So let's start with the actual process within Fast Track. So if we go into the skills and training module, we then get a list of competencies, position profiles, training programs, people skills and assessments. The first step is you need to set up what positions need which training modules, and that's done through the position profiles. So selecting position profiles, we get a list of position profiles up here based on the roles that people will fulfill. So teachers, for example, will have a totally different list of skills as a grounds person would have. So through the side action list, if you want to create a new position profile, you hit the create button. It comes up with a fresh screen. Starting with the position reference. So every record you create in Fast Track has to be given a unique identifier, in this case position reference. Now for position profiles, we've got a convention that we start them with the $sign. That's just so people don't get them confused with actual people's names. We then would give a title typical, say it's an admin staff person. A description of that is, you can then detail and type in a good description of their responsibilities, and we can select whether they've got any specific compliance functionality. So I guess in this case here we're going to say it's a non-teacher. The next thing we've got is the owner. Now the owner being who will be managing this record, so it's going to be just the FT, the Fast Track administration people. It's part of the compliance unit, and we could state any other comments of it. The status, you just leave it set at 0. And then these are the two main things we've got to look at. One is what modules we want for induction and what modules we want for annual retraining. So to select what modules we want, we click on the little question mark there, and we get this pop-up screen allows us to select from the list of modules and training assessments that are set up. So for this I can say, okay, I've got welcome to the college, we've got to go through staff employment guidelines, we've got to go through mandatory reporting and grooming behaviour. So we save those. Any new staff that come in will have to go through those 4 modules. Once they're established within the organisation, they then need to do annual updating of their induction information. So we can select what modules. Again, we've got a series of modules set up for those. So having selected what we want, as you can see they appear up the top here. If there's one of them we don't want to have, we've decided we don't need to take out of it, instant reporting. By selecting the one you want to remove from the list, you then click on the little X to the side and it removes them. So now I've got 2. To select these, I hit the save button, puts it back into the record, and now to create that admin record I just hit the OK button. I've now created a new position profile called staff. So I've now got my position profiles. The next step is allocating those to individuals. Clicking on people skills, this is the area where we manage or the registers of the different staff that we have. As you can see, we have libraries within people skills, and the libraries are broken down by the types or the work types that people provide, so whether we're volunteers, contractors or staff. So by selecting their record, one of the fields we have against an individual is their position profile. So when I pull down that list, you can see I've got the list of profiles that we set up earlier. And the one in case we want to use this time is the administration back office staff person. By selecting that profile, you can see it's automatically into the induction modules and the annual training modules. Populate them with the series of assessments that that type of role has to fulfill. So having updated that, I can then hit OK. When you change a value, we need to hit the OK button to store that before we can then use that information. I can now go back into that person's account, and now I can send out an email to that person requesting that they do the induction. The way I do that is by clicking on the induction button on the workflow on the left. I get a screen up, and what this allows me to do is it will record that we're requesting somebody to do these inductions. I can type in details of who and why into the notes box here. But the predominant thing I need to do is specify who's going to be managing this induction. So the who to do would normally be a person within the college who will notify and track that the new staff has done their, or contractor has done their induction. So this would be normally the person that the new staff will report to, or the contracting manager. So I've now populated the who to do. So the who to do being the person who's going to receive this email. I also want to give them a date to when the training has to get done by. So we would normally allow them, say, a week. So we want it to be done the next 7 days, and press OK. This will send an email through to the who to do. Now, as I mentioned, this email will be received by an existing staff member, not by the new inductee. So the existing staff member would then need to forward this email through to the new staff member or the contractor's email account for them to do it. But the links will be active, such that when the new staff member receives a copy of this email, they can come down and click on this induction list, and it will open a screen of this with the list of the subjects that they need to complete, and links on the side here for them to carry out the assessment. So that is a summary of how to set up inductions.